Hi, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about how to choose your financial advisor. So let's dive in.
The Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Katie Umland. Presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life.
Okay, so we want to give a couple of things maybe to look for choosing a financial advisor.
Yeah, so we're going to choose a financial advisor to call 1-800-Prairie View. And, okay, episode over, right? Like, oh, wait, no, maybe not. Hopefully we can have something to offer. But no, I think the key to a financial advisor really is we should almost make like a Match.com kind of a thing, because it's such a personal decision. And I think before you even get into that process, you have to start thinking about, what am I really looking for?
Yeah.
Am I looking for somebody just to manage my investments? Am I looking for somebody to help me with insurance products? The advisor that I'm looking for, do I want them to give me advice about all aspects of my money? Just like, what am I really looking for when I say financial advisor? What does that mean to me, type of a thing? And then start saying, how do I find the advisor that fits that bill? And so, like, for example, I can contrast it to like Prairie View and kind of like, who's the right client for us, but then say, okay, if that's the right client for us, then who's not the right client for us, and who might you go look to see to find that person too. And so if you go down that list and say, what are we looking for? At Prairie View, the clients that we do best with are the clients that are looking for comprehensive advice. And they're looking for somebody to help them make good decisions, but then to take action on those decisions. So if you're a person that is in data gather mode, and you're the type that says, I like to collect lots of bits of information, then I like to synthesize that, and then I like to make my own decision, we're probably not the right firm for you. And that's great. There's other ways that you can go about doing that, but we're probably not the right firm for you. What we would look to do instead would be, all right, let us understand who you are. We already have those bits of information. It's already in our mind. We already know this. You will retire one time in your life. We help people retire 15 times a day.
Right.
And so we know those things. We can synthesize them and then help you come along to understand what were my options and how do I make the best decision, and not just in one aspect of your retirement plan or of your financial plan. It's all aspects. It is, how do I send the kids to college? How do I invest? How do I look at my insurances? What about my estate plan? What about my tax return? As we've talked in other episodes, this coming season, we're going to not just give tax advice. We're also going to start doing some tax return preparation and stuff. So if you're looking for that type of an advisor that can say, take everything into account, then you should come talk to somebody like us.
I wonder, like, if somebody doesn't have a financial advisor, they might not even know what a financial advisor could all do. Like, they might not know what they are looking for, or what, like, if I heard financial advisor, I don't know that I would know insurance.
Yep.
I don't know that I would know. You know what I mean?
I do. Well, and it's funny you say that, because we're just talking. So Maddie, our second daughter, is kind of head of our marketing for Prairie View. I say kind of, because she's also
doing a lot of
other things, and we have great partners with, like, in Pathfinder, who is our outsourced marketing company. But Maddie does a lot of the stuff in office, and for her, when we started talking about tax, so we've always been Prairie View Wealth Partners, and we'll start now talking about us being Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. And Maddie said to us, she's like, for some reason, you adding tax in there made you way more accessible to me.
Yeah.
She's like, I
know what that means.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what a wealth advisor means, but I know what a tax person is. Yes. And so I think you're right, Katie, that there's a lot of those questions out there that says, how do you demystify what this is, especially when I have everybody from my State Farm agent to my stockbroker to an actual comprehensive financial planner calling themselves a financial advisor. Like, what
does that mean?
Yeah.
And I think, I would not put Prairie View and State Farm. I would not even say that those are the same.
They're not.
And but they do similar thing. You know what I mean? So I just feel like there are so many things. I think people think I don't have enough money for a financial advisor, or I'm not close to retirement. I don't need a financial advisor. And also, what does a financial advisor like? I think that there's so many questions that it's not even just how do I pick a financial advisor? It's do I need one, and for what?
Yeah. What purpose?
What purpose?
Oh yeah. Great call out. And I think that it probably all starts with, if you're questioning that, you should have one. Right. If you're questioning, should I have one? Shouldn't I? The answer is yes. So when you think about a financial advisor, and again, we'll use Prairie View as the example. So you say, hey, I'm nowhere near retirement. I don't have a lot of money. Do I need a financial advisor? So ask yourself, is this a time in my life when I want to make smart financial decisions so that later on I can retire and I do have a lot of money? If the answer there is yes, then you should have a financial advisor to help you do it. And so inside of like our firm, you'd come in and you'd work with Caitlin. Caitlin she's been in the industry for about 8 years, knows what she's talking about, does great work, but she's also sub 30 and is in a place where she's saying, I can relate very easily to somebody who's maybe getting started with their savings program, whether they're 50 or 30, wherever you're at in life, age wise, I can relate to somebody who's kind of getting started in that journey, compared to somebody like Bob, who runs our tax, department. And Bob has been in the industry a lot longer than Caitlin, and has seen some other stuff. So he's going to take on somebody that maybe he is at a different place in life. And so that's part of that journey. It's not, am I worthy of an advisor, need an advisor, whatever you want, words you want to say it. Yes, you do need an advisor. It's just, you wouldn't come in if you're starting out and you're just graduated college and getting started in your career. Bob's probably not the one to talk to you. It's probably Caitlin who's able to
making some similar decisions that
100%.
You are at the same time.
100%.
I just think like people probably, if I didn't have family in this industry, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like I probably would just Google like, what do I do?
Yep.
So I just think that there's so much
and it's hard
unknown.
To know. And so I think the part of that is it's always, if you're like me, my fear is I feel like I need one. I want to reach, but I don't want to call them, seem like a dummy because I've never done this before.
I don't even know what question to ask.
Exactly. And then what? Am I going to get a bill for a bunch of money that I don't want to spend?
Right. Or, okay, I took time off work to go meet with this person. And then I feel stupid the whole meeting because he's asking me questions I don't know. Yep. And then to come to find out I don't have enough money to work with this guy.
Yep.
And so I just think it's daunting.
Yeah. And so obviously just like every other decision, if you don't know what you're looking for before you get into it, you're not going to know what you've got when you find it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so the first step is really to kind of think, why am I looking for an advisor? What am I looking for? You're not going to have the complete answer because an advisor knowing how to ask the right question should uncover other areas that you should be thinking about and that kind of stuff. But yet having some ideas to what you're looking for helps. And then to your point, yes, the Google machine, like start seeing what's out there. Ask your other friends and family, who do they have or do they use somebody?
It's so funny because we're in this industry. Like I was talking to my friends, they recently came into a bunch of money and I was just like, hey, look, my brother does this for a living. Like, I don't know if you know what you're going to do with this, but like, if you did want to just talk to somebody, like to throw some spaghetti at the wall, he's available, whatever. And they're like, oh, we have a financial advisor.
Yeah.
But like, we don't talk about that.
Yep.
Like,
well, and it's hard to, right? It's like money's, for some reason, people think that money's kind of off limits. And there are some things that you don't want to talk about. Like you don't want to talk about maybe how much your salary is or how much you have in your 401k, and except for those people that are closest to you. But there's lots of things that you should be talking about money wise that could be helpful. Do you have an advisor? Who do you use? My advisor told us that we could do a Roth conversion. Like those are strategy things that you should be talking about and feel comfortable with.
Or even just talking with your friends and family, like, oh, we have already started to save for our children's college, or because then that kind of shines a light on somebody and then they go home and say like, oh shoot, I think we should start thinking about this.
Yeah.
And I just wish like it could be more of a conversation.
And the thing is that's so crazy. And this is a place like everybody talks about, computers and AI and stuff and taking over the world. And, the hard part with this is think about just this topic of financial advising and think about how much information is available to you right now as a consumer. Just pick that topic of college savings. Where should you save your money for a college education? Go ahead and Google it and you will get 1,000 different answers.
Right.
And you'll have everything from build cash value life insurance to put it in a Roth IRA to a 529 to a prepaid college fund
to under your mattress to a
custodial, like go down the list. Right. And so the thing is like, that's where the advisor comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the advice part. It's not access to the right product. It's everybody has the same stuff. So it's not that part of it. It is how do they help me understand what I'm trying to do and then distill that into actionable things that I can start doing in order to take advantage of this stuff.
Well, and I think like you kind of touched on it earlier, knowing yourself, like, are you somebody who does want advice or are you somebody who just wants information and to make the decision yourself? Because that's important to know.
It is
going into it. Like,
it is.
Are you here to be a partner together and make those choices or? And
I think too, it's in what regard, right? So, like your friend. So the first thing that came to my mind when she said, oh, we have a financial advisor. And it's not appropriate necessarily to get into the conversation with them, but I would love to have the time to ask them and probe a little bit deeper around what does that mean to them? Because to your point, everybody calls themselves a financial advisor.
Sure.
And so we've had clients that say, oh, I have a financial advisor, and they're talking about their insurance agent who works for a specific company who offers an annuity through that company, maybe some limited set of mutual funds and also some insurance products. They may be able to help with some of your stuff. That's not somebody who's going to give you comprehensive financial advice.
Yeah.
And so it really is saying, how do I know what I want? Our recommendation is always you find somebody who's a fiduciary. And fiduciary means that they work for you. They don't represent an insurance company. They don't represent an investment company. They don't get paid a commission to make a sale to you. A fiduciary says, I work specifically for you. And so
how do you know if they're a fiduciary?
So a couple of ways. First,
because the less amount of times I have to say fiduciary, the better for me.
Like it's crazy.
So if really, I don't have to call somebody and ask.
Really, that kind of goes to fee structure. If you have an advisor who says, you don't have to pay me at all, I get paid by an outside firm, I get commissions off of it, then that's not a fiduciary. Whoever's paying them is who they work for.
Okay.
And so like when you think about your investments, most of the time, if you have a fiduciary, that fiduciary is going to charge you a management fee to manage your investments. When people hear management fee, a lot of times they think more expensive. Not the case.
I was going to say, when you first said that, I would have thought like, oh, great, I don't have to pay this person. They get paid by the outside. But as soon as you started talking more about it, I was like, oh, that does make sense that they wouldn't really have your best interest in mind.
Yes. And I'm not saying they do bad work. I'm not saying they're like unscrupulous or nothing like that. But when you so think about the words that are used, right? So if somebody works for a company, let's say it's an insurance company, they're called an insurance agent. So what does that mean? It means that they're an agent for that insurance company, a real estate agent. That realtor, yes, they work for you, but they really work for the company, Remax or Century 21 or what have you. And so as you start looking at that, it's like, how do I then become the fiduciary? And that realtor is kind of like in that middle ground, because who pays the realtor? You do, right? So the money comes. So who are they representing? They're representing you. Think about your attorney. Your attorney that you use for anything, you're going to pay them a fee. that fee means they have to work for you. Whenever somebody gets paid by the company, they're not acting in a fiduciary capacity. So think about your car salesman. Do you ever think your car salesman's your fiduciary or is your no, right? They're working for the company.
Probably the last person you think of that.
Yeah,
for that.
No, for sure. And so that's one way that we would suggest that you kind of think about, okay, is this person a fiduciary? How does this work? And so when you think about how to find a financial advisor, our suggestion is that you look for that fiduciary. Just because you hear things like you're going to pay them to work for you, do not think that that means it's more expensive. There are many times when it's actually less expensive to do that because the way that the products are structured. So the way that I like to explain that a little bit is if you go to Target and buy one roll or one package of toilet paper, you're going to pay whatever price per roll. Let's say it's $2 a roll. But if you, instead of going to Target, bought it, you went to the manufacturer and said, I want a whole truckload of these, you're not going to pay $2 a roll. Right. You can pay something much less. Well, when you come to an advisor, your money is getting matched with all of the other advisors' money. Now that advisor is going to the marketplace as an institution, not as a retail investor. Institutional costs are much lower than retail costs are. And so many times when you look at what's it cost to hire an advisor, it does not necessarily mean, it can mean that it's more expensive, but it does not necessarily mean that. And so don't automatically rule that out when you hear those things. Our suggestion is look for a fiduciary who's going to do what's in your best interest. So
could you go to like Prairie View's website? Where would it say that we're fiduciary?
So a couple of things. So in the investment world, you want to look for a firm that's registered with the SEC. And they would have to have a form ADV that's all in the disclosures at the bottom of their website.
So maybe look at the disclosures.
So just look at the disclosures, see if it says something like securities offered through, that usually means that they're not. It usually means that they're offering investments through another company, which means they're going to get a commission on those. Not always, but that's many times a tip-off. The problem is that when you go to financial advisor websites, they all look the same. Yeah. They all feel the same. And so that's where it really comes down to, you're going to have to at some point just start calling or just start having a conversation. And it does not have to be a phone call. It could be an email. Send an email that just says, hey, I'm looking for advice in these areas. Does that fit what you do? And are you, when I get advice from you, how do you make money? That's not taboo. That's not wrong to understand how somebody's going to make money, because it tells a lot around what are their motivators,
or just even what their answer is.
Yep.
If it's a runaround answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there should be transparency in what happens, right? One of the biggest things that drives me crazy right now, I'm going to shift gears into a different field. Look at healthcare. There is no transparency in healthcare. I have no clue what I'm going to pay when I go to the doctor. But somehow, and there's no way for me to even research, is this a good doctor or not?
Right.
Like, it's all behind a curtain. That's the opposite of what your relationship should be with your financial advisor. You're going there to talk to them about some of the most deep and important things to you. You're talking to them about your money. You should know how the money side of that relationship works all the way around.
Sure. I feel like that's a hard question to ask. And especially in this industry, it shouldn't be.
No. And anybody who's offended by that,
that's maybe a sign.
Just find a different advisor.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason that you shouldn't understand. It should be clear, transparent pricing. One of the things that drives me crazy about that retail world of investing is, the FINRA and our regulators or overseers have all said we have to have super transparency. Well, what that's turned into is now every time you buy an investment, it comes with a 200-page booklet that's called a prospectus. Buried in there somewhere is what you're paying for it. Nobody reads it. Nobody knows what they're actually paying, which is much different. Like if you came to work, let's say with a fiduciary, a Prairie View type of firm, we're going to give you an agreement that says, here's what you pay. you know what you're paying. There is no question here. And then you're going to actually see on your statement, those costs come out. If you get a statement from some of these other firms, you don't even know what those costs are because they're all hidden in behind the name.
Well, kind of going back to what you were saying about healthcare, like you don't even know if this is a good doctor or not. I almost feel like that's similar in the financial world because of all the regulations. You can't ask for reviews.
Yep.
You can't. So there are basically no reviews.
Yeah, there's no reviews. There's no testimonials. There's no.
So that's another hard piece of like, you can't just look up and see what people are saying about them because.
Well, and it's funny you say that because that's really a big reason why we do the podcast, right? Because this is one way that people can get to know us before they have to pick up the phone or reach out. And so, you know, the things that if I was shopping for a financial advisor, it's kind of the checklist that I would go down is I'd look to see, first of all, what types of thing am I looking for advice on? If I want comprehensive advice, I'm not going to call somebody that only does insurance, only does investments, like that kind of stuff. I'm going to look for a comprehensive financial advisor. If I want an advisor that can relate to me, I'm going to probably look for an advisor that has similar lifestyle types of things. Meaning, if I'm just starting out, I don't want the 47-year-old that's already got kids that are my age. I probably want somebody that's closer to my age. Or if I'm just starting out and I'm 50, and maybe I'm just starting to save, so I just got enough money in income to do that. I don't want the person that has $5 million in their account. Like I want somebody that's kind of relative to me. The next thing I look at is, what is their kind of presence? Their website. Can I relate to it? Does it feel like me? Is it cold and straightforward, or is it warm and inviting? And which do I prefer? Look at their social presence. What are they doing out on socials? What are they supporting? What aren't they supporting? Anybody today that's serious in business should have some social clips that you can pick up and see, like whether it's a podcast or whether they're a host of a podcast or just on a podcast, right? There should be some way to get some knowledge of that. And then understand how they get paid. And is that in alignment with what you want as well? I would also add in there, what types of designations do they have? Do they have like a certified financial planner designation? Somebody that has nothing behind their name probably isn't serious about the industry. So just, you know, I think there's some soft things there, but I think there's some hard things too that you could start to try to dig into.
So at least that's like 6 or 7 takeaways. Like, okay, here's some
rough guidelines,
bullet points of how you can start looking. And then, like you said, just send an email if you don't want to get on the phone, and just kind of with a couple bullet point questions and maybe go from there.
And what should happen is, if you want to have that first call with an advisor, you should not be charged for it. And they should probably send you some sort of information ahead of that meeting that is going to tell you how to be prepared for that meeting. If you get nothing, just move on. There are enough advisors out here. You'll find the right one, the right fit for you. And if there's anything that feels like this doesn't seem quite right, then find the next one, because it's your money and it's important that you get good advice from the right. Well,
and you might as well make that choice. Do the work at the beginning. So if it's not feeling right, switch so that you can have a long-term relationship with them rather than.
It should be a lifetime partnership.
And it's not the right relationship. So you avoid going, or you avoid talking to them. And then 7 years down the road, you haven't done what you should because you're avoiding it. So just spend the time at the beginning and make 100%. A good choice.
Yeah,
so
we say a lot of times, it's how you start, it's how you end.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you don't start right, you're not going to end right. And so, and then finally, I think one of the things that kicked off this episode too, Katie, was you saying, I don't even know what I would use a financial advisor for. And so first, if you're asking the question, do I need an advisor? The answer is yes. There is some advisor that is right for you that can help you. The things that they can help you with budgeting, debt management, those types of things. They can help you with your investments, what types of investments to put into. They can help you with financial projections. How much should I be saving? Am I on track for retirement? Not on track? They can help you with your estate planning conversations. What happens when I'm no longer here? They can help you with your insurance information. They can help you with your tax planning as well. So you, in each of those categories, you will have people that specialize just in that. So you could say, I just go to a tax person, and then I just go to my insurance person, and then I just go to my real estate planning person. Or you can look for somebody that says, we do all of those things. We bring it together. And if there's anything outside of our expertise, then we help you get the right attorney. We help you get, and we work with them. You've got an attorney, great. Then I'll work with your attorney. If you don't, we will get you to the right place. And so there's all of those things. And so as a consumer, think about, do I need a financial advisor of some sort? If you're thinking it, the answer is yes. All of those categories is where you can get advice. Think about, what type of advice am I looking for, in what category, and that starts to narrow down what am I looking for.
Awesome. And I think the page is still live on our website. I think there's a kind of find.
Yeah, we did a white paper on the 10 things to look for in a financial advisor. Yep.
I think there's a white paper and possibly a YouTube video with you kind of walking through those things. Yep. So head to the resources page at pv-wp.com. And maybe if you're hearing some drilling and hammering in the background, maybe it's because we are changing offices.
Yes, we are. New office.
So they are updating down to the understuds.
Yep. Yes, we
here.
are.
So
yes, we are.
moving to downtown Frankfurt in the next few weeks and months, I guess.
Yeah. So look for those announcements coming out too, because Preview's got a lot of cool stuff coming out between new office, book coming out here first of the year, new tax practice. So lots of good stuff.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, have a great day. Enjoy the new year. I think this is probably coming out about
first part of the new year. Yeah.
About the new year. So thanks for joining us today. Be well.
Be well.
The Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Katie Umland. Presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life. Learn more at pv-wp.com. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the Retirement Readiness Podcast on your preferred podcast platform.